Yeah. Hey. Well, yeah. Goonies never say die. You know what time it is. We got horror suspense. Listen, Kevin Trav digging in the bin. Dirty Dancing in Encino Man. You never know what you'll find in Uncle Doug's bin. What's in the bin? Yeah, Uncle Doug's bin. He's got all these flicks from way back when. Marty McFly in the DeLorean. Gotta love the Cajun, whatever he's in. Face off Snake Eyes, you know it's a win. What's in the bin? Yeah, Uncle Doug's bin. What's in the bin? Yeah, Uncle Doug's bin. What's in the bin? Yeah, Uncle Doug's bin. What's in the bin? Yeah, let's begin.
Welcome to Uncle Doug's DVD Bin, the podcast where we take your favorite movies, yeah, that's right, your favorite movies, give you some facts, tell you the plot, and there might even be a few jokes along the way. I'm your host, Kevin.
And I'm your host, Travis.
What up, Trav Dog?
What up, my guy? I made good on, you were complaining. You were complaining for weeks. Doug was complaining for weeks. Travis, you never come by the trailer. You never watch the movies with us. Well, I did this time, and I got to watch the most fascinating thing I've ever seen Doug do.
Yeah, also, you know what? Just shout out. I appreciate you helping me put the underpinning back on the trailer after that windstorm.
Yeah, you got it, bud.
Boy, that was a heck. You know what, man? We went through, 2 driver batteries on that sucker? Woo, that's a job.
We blew right through them. Windy day.
Oh.
Was it El Nino or something?
Yeah, yeah. I'm not sure if it's technically a weather phenomenon known as El Nino, but it was definitely a bad child. That would be Nino Malo. I don't know what El Nino means. I know Nino is
maybe it's sick child.
Oh, that's even worse. Well, I mean, wouldn't that be like enferma?
I don't want to get blown by any children.
Hey, Travis, this is a family podcast, and we're debating Spanish, which neither of us knows. Okay, so if you could just stick with the game plan. No, look, man, I'm glad that you finally stooped to hang out with Uncle Doug and I and watch a film.
I mean, you were making me feel guilty. So, what choice did I have? But I go over there. We're watching Soylent Green. Doug tells me he watched it once back in the 80s. And that he didn't remember much. That was his words. And I was like, all right, cool. So maybe now we won't get him like constantly going, watch this part. Because I hate that when we're watching a movie with him.
Now you say that, but I love that.
I'm watching the whole parts. That's Uncle Doug.
That's how movies work. You watch all of the parts. You don't stop watching certain parts. But it's just
watch this. I can't even hear him.
He just gets so excited. He gets so excited about his favorite parts of the movie. He's like that with music, too. Like, he's the one's like, hold on, listen to this part of the song. And he just loves it.
Yeah, we were both quiet listening before you said that.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, so he hadn't watched this movie in a while. Thank the good Lord he didn't have it memorized, so I didn't have to deal with that. But Trish, she had to have Trish over, and, they're inseparable. So now hanging out with Doug is hanging out with Doug and Trish. And what was interesting, Trish took to the movie quite well, and it really kicked up her environmental streak because she was all about like, oh God, we got to get to recycling, Doug. We can't just have all this garbage around. She calls it garbage because she thinks it makes her fancy, and so now they're on a huge recycling kick because of this movie. Now he's already starting a garden early. He's going to plant collards this year. He's going to try to raise his own food. Like this movie, really, it changed him because he used to be kind of. I mean, let's be honest. He's got his front yard. There's some places where you can mow, but most of it's just engine parts. Right?
Yeah, M's is decorations. That's what he calls them.
Pours does an oil change into the ground.
Yeah. It's actually back behind that little garage building he has. He dumps so much oil back there, the ground just sinks. It's real weird back there.
Right. Whoever lives there after him is going to think they struck oil.
You know what though? It is good. I think he's found out though that there's some ins and outs of recycling that he just didn't know about.
That's true. That's the thing, because now that he's on this big recycling kick, he's dragging everything out to recycle. I'm like, you can't recycle that. No, that's a stray cat. You can just give that to the clinic. They'll take care of that. You don't recycle animals. He brought out all of his old like deep cycle batteries and car batteries that he kept in the shed. I was like, those got to go back. They won't pick those up. That's a landfill item. So, I mean, it's fun to watch, but at the same time, it's actually brought a lot more work for me because now I got to make sure he's not recycling anything too stupid.
Yeah, that's true. I just let him throw whatever in the back of my truck, and I just take it. I don't even ask him questions anymore. Trish did say that she was going to do something with them batteries. I don't know what. She says she does arts and crafts, so she's got some plans, I guess.
Wow. I would love to... You know what? I would love to see what she comes up with if she survives whatever this is.
Yeah. I hope it's not dangerous, but you know what? I can't tell Doug anything, and I sure can't tell Trish nothing.
Sure can't, man. But this film, weird movie, all said. I think at the end of this, me, Trish, and Doug were both left wondering what just happened.
That's because you didn't watch the parts he was telling you about. Yeah. Comes back full circle there, Travis. You got to pay attention to what Uncle Doug tells you to pay attention. Man, this is a great movie though. The first time and only time I'd seen this movie previous to us pulling it out of the bin was when I was in college. I had a bunch of time between my classes, and I lived. Travis, you'll know what this means. I lived in Radford. I lived in Blacksburg and went to college at Radford. Okay.
Oh, that's a weird way to do it.
That's a weird way to do it. That's like the backwards way, which if you don't know where those two places are, it's fine. They're basically nowhere. But you had about a 20 to 25 minute drive. So I didn't have a lot of money because I was one of those college kids. So I'd just hang around the campus, and I would go to the library, and you could just check out movies and hang out and watch them. And they had like little cubicles, little movie cubicles set up, kind of like just your own private screening room. And I just watched all kinds of movies from the 70s, and this is one. This is the one I had zero memory of it whatsoever, other than like I remembered the murder, the death chamber scene. I kind of remember that, and then I remember the scene right at the end. That was about all I remembered of this movie.
It's not. I think it's a neat film. It's not memorable. I watched it twice in the last 3 days, and I don't remember any of it. So this will be fun.
I fortunately remember a lot. I actually really do like this movie. Upon these viewings, I have really enjoyed my time with it. I don't think I need to go back to it for a while, Yeah. But I felt like every time I watched this, I found a little wrinkle in there, something in a performance that was really good. Edward G. Robinson's fantastic in this.
He kills it. They told him this was going to be a good movie, and he believed him. He was like, all right, fine, I'll do a good job then.
I mean, this is one of those kind of classic, come on, movies from the 70s. So,
it is. I think it's based on a book. I think the concept is extremely neat. I think, maybe it's just a product of its time, but pacing-wise, I found myself nodding off a couple times, which is why I had to watch it twice, because I was like, I'm pretty sure I missed about 20 minutes in the middle. But all said, I think it's interesting, for sure. It's not what I expected. And at the same time, I anticipated the ending from so far away.
Well, it's been, yeah. I mean, the movie's been memed so much, like that. The Simpsons have done a parody. Like, there's just a ton of. I mean, it's one of those like kind of fixtures as far as big twist endings to the movie, which you kind of basically the last 20 minutes of the movie, you already know what the twist is, but it's still pretty interesting. Now the release date on this one, Travis, was May 9th, 1973. All right.
Wow. So not 1986. This is our first one of the season.
We're stepping out, man. We're stepping out from our pattern, and we're trying something new. We're going all the way back to 1973, man. Directed by Richard Fleischer, writers Stanley R. Greenberg, Harry Harrison, starring Charlton Heston, Edward G. Robinson, and Lee Taylor Young.
Interesting cast, I think. You got there's something. Charlton Heston always does really good, like weird 70s sci-fi, which is weird because if you take Charlton Heston and you look at his life as an arc, you think that old cranky he was never fun. But in the 70s, he's a good time. He's pretty fun to watch.
Yeah, he was a good time.
Edward G. Robinson kind of all over the place, and then Lee Taylor Young, who I think is great in this. Never heard of her before or after or since this. I don't know what happened to her. I'm not versed in 70s cinema. Maybe she was a big deal. I missed it, but this is a name that's new to me.
This won't surprise you. I think Doug dated her back in the 80s.
Get out.
Yeah, or at least it was somebody named Lee.
Okay.
So I don't know.
It could have been this one. You never know. There's only a few.
Well, Travis, you get out there and you do that 6 Degrees of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and I'm excited to see what you did with this one, because how do you connect? What was the last movie we did? Labyrinth, wasn't it?
Yeah, Labyrinth. Yeah.
How you gonna connect that bad boy to Soylent Green? That's pretty wild.
Yeah. You remember Jennifer Connelly in that movie, right? She was the girl there in the labyrinth there.
Yeah.
She was abducted by Tina Turner and taken into a weird maze.
Oh yeah, remember all that.
Yep. So she was in 1995. She was in a movie called Higher Learning. I don't know if you've ever seen that. It's it's got Omar Epps in it. I think Ice Cube might be in that. Higher Learning, 1995. She was in that with the one Andrew Brynjarski. Now, Kevin, I'm interested. Do you recall the name Andrew Brynjarski at all? Does that ring the bell to you?
I do. Yeah, that's Hudson Hawk, the candy bar guy.
That's
Butterfinger, who also, if I remember correctly, was Leatherface in the remake of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Is that right?
That's right. So
this
he's
dude
come up on this.
Keeps coming back in our podcast.
I couldn't believe
what an obscure actor to keep popping back up, man.
I know. I couldn't believe it when he popped up. He's already been mentioned in 3 episodes, I believe. Yeah. This maybe potentially being the 4th. So yeah, he popped back up because he was in Any Given Sunday, that 1999 Jamie Foxx Al Pacino vehicle for football with the one Charlton Heston.
What? Who the heck was Charlton Heston in that movie?
He was, I think, the commissioner.
Oh, okay. All right. Man, it's been a long time. That is a great movie in my memory. Like in my
If it's in the bin, we should dig it up.
Yeah, it's got like that great like locker room speech by Al Pacino being all Al Pacino-y. Like I just remember that being a good. I was like, man, this movie is pretty good.
It is hardcore. We used to watch it before a lot of our football games. Like on Fridays, you got that extra bit of time where you'd normally be practicing after school. It's just you and the boys chilling in the locker. We had 3 movies we'd rotate. Any Given Sunday, of course. Remember the Titans and The Last Boy Scout, right?
Why not a 3rd football movie? How did you land on The Last Boy Scout?
Just it's fun. Why not?
Okay, yeah.
We did start watching. What was it? What's that movie or that series on HBO? The Brothers, Band of Brothers.
Band of Brothers. Yeah.
But we never could get through much of it before we had to go play football. Football was interrupting the movie or the series, so we decided to do movies.
Also, like horrific World War II, sad, violent drama might not be enough to get you hyped up for the football game. You know?
Yeah, you think of that, and you're like, oh, there's probably some parts of that can amp you up and get you into the mode of brotherhood. But most of the time, it was just families being sad. So yeah,
which gets
Charlton
me
Heston,
hyped up. I'm excited about sad families. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I'd like to make a few families sad, but from the other town.
Yeah, I would like that when their team lost and ours won, and we all go to Waffle House and everybody's like,
I want everybody to go home safe. Yeah,
you were the hero of the game. We're so proud of you. And my mom would be like, I love you finally, and my dad would be like, I'm not disappointed.
He would also say finally.
Finally, yeah.
Yeah. But no, has Jennifer Connelly, Andrew Brynjarski, and Charlton Heston, have the 3 of those names been mentioned in succession before? Probably not. Right here on Uncle Doug's DVD bin. That's where you get that. So I've done it once again. Boom.
Yeah, just thinking about my dad. Anyway, Travis, that was good. You did a great job, man. I really appreciate you bringing it home on that 6 Degrees of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. A bit of the show that we will never change the name to. It's never going to change. Now, how about a little bit of those preview reviews where you go out there into the wide world of the internet and you bring us back thoughts of the common person that says, I have seen this movie and I have the ability to type a comment on the internet. What'd you bring for us this time, buddy?
All right. Well, I was looking through those letterboxed reviews, and I gotta say, I like to pull the 5 stars because I always like when someone's head over heels about a movie. I could not find a 5-star review that was coherent or not 3,000 words.
Okay.
People who love this movie wanted to be like, oh, this is how it is the perfect reflection of 2022. And blah, 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 blah. It was they predicted it perfectly. Here's the political stratosphere. And here's like, get lost. I want to read something funny for my podcast. So I had to go down to the 4 stars.
You think they would have you in mind for this, Travis? But at this point, we have made Letterboxd nut.
We have for a fact added one.
That sounded weird the way I said it, but I just meant like we've made a lot of money for him. Like, oh, I made my nut, rather than like I made my nut.
It is the intonation. I do think that makes a difference.
Yeah.
Yeah. But either way, we've made Letterboxd nut, and we
See,
I
the
know
way
we
you
for a
said
fact,
it, the way you said it sounded like you
What?
had a great Friday night with Letterboxd. I'm going to be honest.
I have tons of great Friday nights with Letterboxd. It's a
Okay.
great resource.
Yeah, sure.
But I know for a fact that we got them one subscriber through this podcast.
Oh.
So they do owe us. But anyway, I had to dig into the 4 stars to get our first review tonight. This is from Kate Schaller.
Oh,
It's
okay.
probably their real name. Look her up on LinkedIn. This is from May 29, 2021. She says, takes place in 2022, and there's a whole lot of mask wearing, so that's it.
Yeah. I don't. What's so unusual about that?
My take is that Kate's like, 4 stars because this movie just predicted the future.
Oh,
But only for
yeah.
that very specific mask part.
Yeah, but they were wearing masks because of the pollution in the movie, and we were wearing masks because, the deadly plague that had descended upon us. I mean, that's kind of the same thing, I guess, sort of.
I agree. And
That
when
sounds-
we do go over the movie, the guys that go in to retrieve that body are wearing masks, but they also look like ninjas. And I was thinking the whole time, I wish all ambulance drivers and medics dressed as ninjas, because then emergencies would be fun.
Yeah, they kind of.
Because as it stands now, it's very sad. You're like, oh no, there's a paramedic. Someone must be in trouble. But if you saw a fucking ninja sprinting to help someone, a lot more fun.
They could actually
Anyway.
throw down smoke bombs too. How cool would
There you
that
go.
be?
That's right, to conceal the identities of the patients.
Yeah, I do want to run back to Kate Schaller. Her comment is takes place in 2022, and there's a whole lot of mask wearing. So, in her head, she probably thought that sounded super clever, but it's not. It's just stupid. Okay, great. Move along, Travis.
Yeah, and they don't get less stupid. People who watch this movie are of a flavor.
You know what? I want to take that back. I shouldn't have went that hard at Kate. Sometimes I say things that I think are clever, and they're not. Like, for example, earlier I said Letterboxd made a nut.
Yeah, I remember that. That was a good time.
Mm-hmm.
That was one of our finer moments.
Really was, wasn't it? I want that on a T-shirt. Can you get that on a T-shirt?
You can get anything you want on a T-shirt.
What? Are you serious?
Oh, by the way, we've never mentioned this. We're 3 seasons in. We do have T-shirts, and one of them says has 3 gold stars out of 5 gold stars, 3 out of 5 stars. Time of my life, so you can get that.
That's a great shirt, by the way. You definitely
Call back
need
to
these.
season 1.
Yeah.
So hopefully you've paid attention.
That
Anyway,
very first episode.
our next review here is from a one Phoebe, all lowercase. She has no self-respect. 4 stars. This is from March 18th of 2022. It says, can we talk about how projected 2022 is only a little bit worse than actual 2022? Can we talk about that?
No, I'd really rather not. I'd really rather not talk about 2022 to be. You know what, though? Speaking of 2022, I believe that's when Elden Ring came out, and I'm playing Elden Ring now. So, like, at least something good came out of 2022. I just didn't realize it for like 2 years.
That happens to me all the time.
And I wear a mask while I'm playing it.
Also, I think this podcast started in 2022, so
Do we really?
I think so.
Well, I'll be doggone. Look at that. You know what? Maybe 2022 is not so bad after all.
It's not that bad.
Yeah.
Then we've got 3 stars from Jude, all lowercase, no self-respect. This is from 16 June 2021. 3 stars. Sometimes it's hard to tell if a movie is good or it just has a redheaded girl in it.
You gave out during the middle of that. Like, you were like, this is not. I'm disappointed in myself for finding this, and I'm also disappointed in this person.
I just forgot how to read. I'm actually mad I messed up the delivery. I think it's fun. And let me give it one more go. Sometimes it's hard to tell if a movie is good or it just has a redheaded girl in it.
Okay, you can't.
Isn't that better?
You can't do a stupid voice and suddenly make the. You did preface this with like, I found a bunch of really crappy comments. That's not exactly what you said, but I don't really listen to everything you say, and it's like that was pretty close, I think.
They are bad. No one that watched this movie is fun. That's what I got out of this.
Yeah, I mean, we watched it, and we're fun.
Yeah, we'll
right?
see. You got about another hour and change on this.
Okay, all right.
But anyway, Jude. I thought that was funny because I also thought that the wonderful redhead in the movie helped it out quite a bit. Then people who are low on it, which there is no shortage of those people. Even though this movie averages a really high score on Letterboxd, I feel like most people who take the time to review it were upset about what they got.
Okay, all right.
But this is
that tends to be the way it is in real life, though.
Yeah, like who's leaving reviews for your restaurant? People who are mad about it.
Yeah.
No one's leaving after a good time being like, I'm going to have to give this 5 stars. No one's doing that.
Except
But
for
we should
me,
all start.
You know?
Yeah, we should all start.
I mean, now. I didn't mean I was doing it in the past.
You start today. I got
Travis, I did actually mean that I was doing it in the past, and I lied. And I just wanted people to like me so much that I thought telling them that I had been doing a good thing that you said was good would make them like me, Dad. But it doesn't.
That is sad.
I like how your excessively uncomfortable laugh just comes to an abrupt halt. That's my favorite part of doing a podcast with you, bud.
Yeah, I got that sarcasm. Up next, we've got a 1-star from a cinema in period 1. Cinema in 1 with strange punctuation. 17 May 2020. The message of this film, might is great, but literally every other aspect about it felt abysmal and utterly outdated, a classic to be forgotten. 1 star on that fucking typo? I mean, come on. If you're going to be salty, don't typo.
That's my, if you're going to do a negative comment, don't half it, okay? Just hit it crisp, solid. Let us chew on it. Let us chew on your frothing rage. Like, that makes me happy, okay? But your little namby-pamby wannabe angry comment, nah, forget it. You know what? That's the thing. It is a classic to be forgotten, not the film Soylent Green. Booyah.
Get 'em, Kev. That's right. I feel like they originally typed this, the message of this film is great, and they were like, actually, I'm not sure. I'm going to put might.
Maybe it is.
Maybe it is great. I'm not real sure about that. And then they put might, and they forgot to take out, or they forgot to replace the is with be for a might be great. So either way, they're dumb. And then you've got 1 star. It's our last one tonight. For the preview reviews. We got post credits to come. Buckle up. But we've got preview reviews. This is from Grimly. August 17 of just last year, 2023, 1 star. My dad keeps calling me a soy boy.
Yeah. Dad.
I don't even know what that means, but I don't think that's a reflection of the movie. I think that's a 1-star dad.
Yeah. I think I would not give that dad 3 stars time of my life.
No, that's not a time of your life kind of dad.
What is a soy boy, by the way? I've heard people toss that around. I'm not entirely sure. I mean, I eat soy, so, like, am I a soy boy?
It is a pejorative term sometimes used in online communities to describe men perceived to be lacking masculine characteristics.
Oh, God, that is definitely me. That is. I mean, I do have a snappy beard, but that's about the end of my masculine characteristics.
I don't know. You work out a lot and fight.
Yeah. Are those masculine traits, though? Because I
think so.
I don't know. And not to get into gender politics, because we're both just so stupid, but, like, or just gender in general, because it's a construct. But it's like, and that's exactly what I was going to say. It's like, is there any characteristic that you would go, like, that's just a masculine or feminine trait? No. So fine. I eat my soy. How about that?
Yeah, I mean, I moan when I poop, so I'm not masculine.
Nope, that's a masculine. No, that's actually a masculine. I think that's, yeah. No, yep, nope, you hit it. That's the one. That's the one
that's masculine
trait. Yeah. I mean, like, more like a on it, but, you know.
Oh, no. Mine's,
Why do you do it that way?
I don't know. I just think it feels good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Why moan at all? Because it feels good.
Huh. I've actually never moaned in my life. I'm gonna try it though. Like,
whatever, virgin.
Yeah, and a soy boy. I'm a virgin soy boy. That's the takeaway of this particular podcast. Well, Travis, I think it's come to that time in every episode where we talk about the plot of this fantastic movie. Trav, what do you mean?
That's gonna be the worst part of this episode.
What do you mean it's gonna be? We're gonna have fun. What? Okay, great. Everybody's tuned out now, so it's just you and me. Hey.
There's some boring spots. We'll see how it goes.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll make those spots not boring. So you get an opening montage of just old-timey photos and just kind of an idea of how we got to the horrible state that we find the world in. Is kind of this opening montage. And it kind of harkens back to, like, you know what? There was a simpler time when a boy just sat on a bale of hay and went fishing, and it was better then. And then we got these technologies and things went wrong. It's kind of that vibe. You know what I mean? It's like a Werther's Original commercial, but like apocalyptic.
Yeah, I was worried that I accidentally started a Ken Burns documentary, and I was like, I don't have 6 hours. And I didn't know what they were getting at here, but it makes sense in hindsight as to why they would do this.
Yeah.
It's the way things were.
Yeah, it just shows you kind of how you got there. It's now the film is set in the year 2022 in New York City, and in New York City it has a population of like 40 million. So that's a lot.
It's packed.
That's a lot. And the streets, the very opening scene kind of shows the streets of New York City, and they're just green. There's just green in the air, which I imagine is kind of like if someone was farting a lot. Like that's just, it's just like it's like in a cartoon, you know, when they walk through the stink cloud. That's kind of what the whole outside looks like in the year 2022 in New York City.
I thought it was a sequel to Maximum Overdrive, and the green stench of the sky had settled into the cities, and that's the connective tissue between these two movies, Kevin.
Dang, I didn't know you were making a like expanded universe, so that's pretty impressive.
Got to do something. It's so boring.
well, in the apartment of Detective Thorne, played by Charlton Heston, he is the protagonist of the film. We learned some stuff vis-a-vis talking heads on the television. We learned that Soylent Green comes from plankton. And Tuesday is Soylent Green Day. We've been saying that around my house after watching this movie a few times. It's a great catchphrase. So just every Tuesday, just know that Tuesday is Soylent Green Day.
And I was excited because we record on Tuesdays. It is Soylent Green Tuesday, Kevin.
Shut up. I didn't even think. Well, I did think about it, but I didn't want to let people know our top secret recording schedule. But now they know. So it's out there.
Now they know. What confuses me, though, is they have...
Happy Soylent Green Day, by the way.
Oh, happy Soylent Green Day to you. What confuses me, they have Soylent Red and Soylent Yellow, and now they're introducing Soylent Green only on Tuesdays, but is there a Soylent for every day of the week? If there's only 3, we've got 4 more days unaccounted for. Are we doing a whole crayon box? Like, what's on Brown Soylent Day? Do I want to know? Probably not.
Oh, Travis. You just know Tuesday is the special day. That's when you get the good stuff. And there's actually a scene later, because I'll probably forget to comment on it, in like the market when there's a riot going on. And now, keep in mind, everybody's supposed to be starving in this movie. And Soylent Red and what's the other? Soylent Yellow, I think it is just flying all over the place. And people aren't like grabbing it up. They're just like, nah, we're here for that green, dog. Like, we want that good stuff, you know? So Soylent Green, despite its dubious production process, must be pretty darn good.
Must be. Let's find out why.
Yeah, let's do that. Well, we see the apartment of Thorne, and we meet Saul, who is, I assume they're kind of roomies, but they're also working together. Now, Thorne is kind of a detective, and Saul is, for lack of a better term, they call him like his book, but it's his like information guy, basically. Like, he does research for Detective Thorne.
Yeah, it's like this movie feels like, it reminds me of Idiocracy in a way, where it's like, you know, the end times, the apocalypse has come, and we've the people that lived through the before times are kind of like this, they're kind of mystical. Mm-hmm. So I think this is just a guy who read books.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's it. And he just has knowledge.
One of the things, and like before we get too deep in it, just to set the framework, jobs are very hard to get. Food obviously is in high demand unless you're ultra wealthy, and even then it's still fairly hard to get like good fresh food that's not this processed Soylent product. Okay, so those are 2 plot points you just want to keep in mind. What I also really like about just the feel of this movie as you're watching it is that everything is just right on the edge of unraveling. Like, the societal breakdown is like in this slow-mo, which is kind of the way societies fall apart. They don't do it all at once, you know? Everything's just in this slow-mo decay. I really like that. This movie just exudes that quality throughout it.
Interesting.
So, you know, the next time we watch this with Uncle Doug, keep that in mind. Now, in a world without food, Saul pulls out the margarine from the fridge, and Thorne's like, oh, it went bad. And you're like, dude, you let the margarine go bad in a world where you're running out of food? What's wrong with you?
That didn't add up too much to me.
But
even on my first watch, I think isn't this all about being hungry? This is just eating old butter. That's a luxurious life to me.
Yeah, right? You know how much I would have killed for a pat of old butter back in the old day. You know what I mean? Well, anyway, he does end up eating it. And he's like, it's not that bad. And Saul kind of complains about how, and this is a theme that he does throughout the movie, how bad things are and how much better they were. There was food available, meat, real food. Now, Travis, what do you? Their apartment, how would you describe it, and what do you think of it?
Interesting question. It kind of looks like what I thought the teacher's lounge looked like as a kid.
That is such a perfect observation. Down to the bike they pedal to make the lights and batteries
Place
work.
you're never allowed into, but you just kind of imagine it's full of books and it has its own kitchenette, but it's still kind of dirty. I don't know. There's just something mysterious about it. And of course, he has to pedal a indoor bicycle to keep the electricity going. I didn't think that was part of the teacher's lounge, but it does have this back closet Harry Potter archival feel to it. It's really strange.
Yeah, it is very, very odd. Kind of an old sort of apartment building. Nice space though, considering how everybody else is living. But they've got a ton of books. They've got a bike that they have to pedal to kind of charge batteries to keep the lights on. Their water comes out of an old igloo cooler, like the big round water coolers, because they have to go get water ever so often. So just to kind of give you an idea of that, tone of the film. And also, all of this is caused by greenhouse gases. The planet has heated up and it's overpopulated. So you get kind of all of that backstory throughout this. We also learn that Thorne and Saul are very close, and his two men tell each other they love each other. I was like, even jokingly, I was like, that's, you know what? That's not toxic masculinity. So Travis, I love you, buddy.
I love you too, big guy.
Yeah, I don't like it. Can we? Ugh. God, that feels so unmasculine.
I'm
already a
I loved it.
No, I'm already a soy boy. I can't be telling other people I love them.
I feel better, actually. That was a huge load off of me.
Oh, okay. I'm glad we got that out in the open.
My load off of me onto you.
Oh, well, thank you, Dad. Anyway, Travis. Anyway, moving along. As Thorne is going down the stairs, there are people that's where they live. They live on the stairs. They're not the people under the stairs like Wes Craven thought about, but they just sleep and live on the stairs. And he kind of, first of all, going down is way easier. He does like this sort of hopping maneuver and hits the spots, but coming back up is a real pain. But people just live and sleep on the stairs in these apartments because everything is so overcrowded, but there's a curfew. Everybody has to be indoors by a certain time.
Yeah, and it's like, I think there's more comfortable spots to sleep than just on 5 to 7 stairs. I think you could find a flat spot somewhere, anywhere. Sometime later in the movie, there is a section where there are people piled on each other, and then the next section, they're just running down an empty hallway. I'm like, that was plenty of place. There's place there for people to sleep. They could have just been there. They didn't have to be piled on each other in another room.
No, I think there's a regulation that you got to sleep on the stairs. I think that's probably part of the Soylent Corporation's totalitarian regime.
It might be, but you know what this scene reminded me of was Grandpa Joe from Willy Wonka's
exactly.
Chocolate Factory. People just slothing around all day. Like, get up, do stuff.
Yeah. Well, he it's overcrowded. He climbs down the stairs, and then we cut away, and we meet Donovan, who's kind of the sort of sinister government kind of not politician, but like government sort of company man who does the bidding of this sort of evil corporation. And he meets with Gilbert in his car that Gilbert lives in with his wife and his baby and his water collection tank on top of the car, and this like weird sort of, this was kind of a cool scene, like just sort of the very impoverished kind of everybody living in these haphazard structures. I thought that was a pretty neat looking, just visually looking scene. So Donovan meets with Gilbert and gives him a meat hook, and we know that something not good's going to happen with that, and he's basically being hired to do something not good with this meat hook. Well, we then cut away to Simonson's apartment. Now, Simonson, just to give you a little bit of background on how he's living, he's not living in a junked out car with a water collection tank. He's got the creme de la creme, right? He can afford bourbon, right? Like he can afford nice furniture. Why, Travis, he has even bought his now this is this is just, there's no way to say it, just horribly sexist and terrible. But there are women in the film that are referred to as furniture. So basically, you rent an apartment and you get a pretty girl with it, and then you sort of
they convey.
Yeah,
it's wild.
It's really weird, and just in general, I don't know if I'll comment on this as we go throughout the film, but it has a lot of really cool. I mean, that's not a cool thing that women are treated that way. I don't mean that. I mean, like, the vernacular and the slang and the world building that's done within it. So they'll have, like, that as a concept, or, like, certain, dialogue choices, or, like, character name. Like, the way it all kind of ties together and feels like a really fleshed out world. I really like that a lot.
And I'm assuming you get a lot more of that with the book, because this was based on a book, and I'm sure it goes into a lot more detail. Maybe even has a fair bit more about the backstory, assuming this, as the movie leans more into the action. And I know that at least 30 minutes of this movie has zero action. So I imagine the book's a good reader. It's a good reader. Also, and I thought you were building up to this when you started. I was getting geared up, I had a smile on my face, and I was like, and then you talked about how the women are referred to as furniture, which is bad. I don't like that at all. But Simonson has a video game, and that's fucking cool, because it's asteroids built into like an upside down toilet seat, and it's awesome because but it's just called Computer Space. Kind of a lame name. I know they can't use asteroids, but maybe do something other than computer space. But I thought that was cool. So this guy is rich. Not only does he have furniture and several couches and
air conditioning,
he's got video games. He's living a pretty good life in this world.
He is, man. He's been very successful. So we get that sense that he's a very well-to-do guy. Well, his I don't like the term furniture, but I'm going to use it. His lady friend that lives with him, that came with the apartment, her name is Cheryl. So we're going to use her name from now on, Cheryl. And she's playing the arcade game. And we get the sense of their relationship is amiable. In fact, that he might actually be a pretty decent fella in terms of the way he treats her, as opposed to, we find out later, maybe owners of these apartments don't treat the girls that live in them as well. So he seems like a nice enough guy. Well, he sends her and his bodyguard off to get some food, and she says, I'm going to get something special for you while I'm at the... It's not a supermarket. It's like it looks like exactly where you would go to buy like a black market kidney, but they sell celery.
Yeah, and they got like the piece of meat in there.
Yeah, that is a heck of an item to get. And it looks like, I don't know what cut of beef that is. It looks like maybe some of the fat around the stomach. I'm not sure. I'm not a butcher, so I don't really know. But it doesn't look all that appealing. But he gets that, or she gets that, and a little bit of lettuce and an onion and like a couple apples and just like actual fresh food, which is mind-blowingly expensive.
Yeah, huge commodity. And you're right, the food doesn't look it looks good in contrast to everything else. They always present food as like, usually the music will swell up and it's the colors pop and the lights hit because they're like trying to make a point that food is amazing. But there's something about 70s food that still looks like garbage. We've come such a long way in the way we present food in the last 50 years that I was like, that honestly, some of that looks bad and kind of wilted. And the meat looks, it's been out. It's obviously been out. It's been hanging out in the room. Yeah. You can't just it's killed. That'll kill people.
I might be the lone voice here, but like if there was just like a bar, say Soylent everything. Now, I don't want it made out of what Soylent Green's made out of, but let's say I just get this product that was like a bar and I could just eat it once a day and I didn't have to think about food or cooking or like doing anything like that. That's 100% what I would do most of the time.
Well, maybe most of the time, but I mean, I still like eating food is an event. It's like you go out to dinner, you have drink for friends, like there's that social aspect of it too, but sometimes I just like the way a big hot dog feels in my mouth. You know what I mean?
That's exactly how Letterboxd got its nut, you know? Well, moving right along, we get a little cutaway after the grocery shopping scene, and we see that Gilbert is basically sneaking into Simonson's apartment. He takes this meat hook crowbar thing and he like bangs it on the wall for a little while to create like
sneaking in.
Yeah, he's trying to climb up this wall, and he's like banging holes in it to make like handholds, I guess. But I'm like, there are already handholds there, dude. Like, what
that
are
is
you
the most
doing?
textured wall I have ever seen. I have rock climbing friends who would have gone straight up that.
You know, I bet Pam or Caleb would just go right up that thing, man. They wouldn't need no meat hook holes.
Squirrel up a tree, those guys.
In fact, you can tell them I said that they don't need no meat hook holes.
Hopefully they listen to this and find out on their own. They won't, but they could if they wanted to.
Yeah, they could if they really wanted to. Well, he uses those meat hook holes, climbs up this sort of sheer concrete wall, and goes into the building. He sneaks around the security guard, and he gets into Simonson's apartment. Later, we're going to find out, just in case we forget to mention it as a plot point, that all the security cameras and systems have been disabled. Weird, right? Well, he gets into Gilbert's apartment, and Gilbert gets into Simonson's apartment. And they have a little bit of dialogue, not exactly what you would expect a man to say, either who has come into a person's apartment with an implement of murder and a man who is about to be hit with this implement of murder. They have a very cordial conversation. And Gilbert says, they told me to say sorry, but you had become unreliable. And Simonson's like, yeah, that makes sense. I really have become very unreliable. And so then Gilbert says, so this is okay, right? Like, it's okay? And he's like, no, nothing's okay, but it is what has to be done, basically. And then Gilbert's like, yeah, all right, cool, whatever, dude. And then beats him to death with the crowbar.
It was wild, dude. I was watching this movie, and I think like somehow, like somewhere during this dialogue, I like glanced at my phone and glanced back, and the guy was being murdered, and I was like, okay, I must have missed something. And so I went back and watched it. I was like, this guy does not put up a fight. He's just like, yeah, I'm kind of associated with something that's bad. It's going off the rails. So if you could go ahead and beat the hell out of me, that would be amazing.
Yeah, it does feel like he's kind of resigned to his fate. Like he knows. Yeah. He knows that's the way it's going to go, and maybe he just doesn't want to be in this world anymore. Well, he is murdered, and we cut to the next scene, and Thorne is talking to Charles, who is the building manager of the building that Simonson lives in. He's also I'm just gonna say he's a big old jerk. This Charles character. We'll get to why later, but he's just a big old jerk. And so Thorne is investigating, as I mentioned. He finds out that the security system has been kind of disabled, and that the bodyguard and Cheryl were sent out to get food. He asks about the body. He's examining it, and then he just straight up starts stealing stuff out of Simonson's apartment. He's stealing all that tasty food they went and got, all of his booze.
Yeah, at first I was like, man, I guess he's got to. It would be nice if he had a bag, but it's good to take evidence with you. And then I was like, wait a minute. That's not okay. He's just thieving. But I guess it makes sense. You live in an impoverished world. Take what you can. You got to eat.
Well, and he doesn't have any family, so he knows that nobody's going to take this stuff, and that
Simonson doesn't have any family.
Yeah, Simonson doesn't have any family. He just has Cheryl and a bodyguard, neither of which are real kin. And so he does start still think. One of the things that I love, and this happens all throughout this whole scene where he discusses the murder with both the bodyguard and with Cheryl, is he's just like. He's so amazed by like simple creature comforts. Like the air conditioning is so good. The running water, like he's just like, God, this water feels so good on my face. And he gets this bar of soap that he steals. And he's like, I've never seen a bar of soap this big before.
It was really bizarre to me because I was trying to think about how old he was, how old Saul is. If Saul had a life where he got to experience a lot of this stuff, wouldn't there have been some holdover where Charlton Heston's character gets at least exposed to soap? So there's this weird, there must have been a harsh cutoff at some point that's not really referred to or alluded to, but it is weird that he is so fascinated. It's like, I don't know, like he's from a different planet almost, wandering through the movie.
Yeah, you get the feeling that maybe I think Charlton Heston was probably in his 50s when this movie was made, but he's maybe supposed to be a character in his 30s, and Saul's maybe 80 or something. There's a pretty big age gap between the two of them. But Thorne, yeah, he discusses the incident with the bodyguard, and he says, "Hey, can you write?" And he's like, "Yeah, I can write." He's like, "Okay, well, just go write out your statement." And he then also wants to discuss the situation with Cheryl. as he's stealing more things. And he walks in to get her. She's discussing the situation with the bodyguard, and she's upset. She blames herself for Simonson getting killed, and the bodyguard's, sort of trying to comfort her. Thorne then questions her, and he kind of looks her over to see if Simonson had been beating her, looking if she had like bruises on her, so that he thought maybe she, motivated by revenge from the abuse, might kill him. He asks if she's having an affair with the bodyguard. That might be another reason for him to be killed. She says that, of course, she hadn't been doing that. And about that time, the sanitation folks, Travis's ninjas, show up to take the body away for a waste disposal to a waste disposal plant.
It was just so bizarre. They just walk in all cartoon-like and grab up a dead body looking exactly like ninjas.
They are weird. I don't know why they wear those I don't know if that's explained in the book. It's just weird that it's like 9,000 degrees outside, apparently, and they're wearing ski masks.
And I was thinking, like, if it's due to the outside toxins, they are the only ones wearing the masks.
Right.
Lots of people are walking around without them. So I don't know. I couldn't make sense of the masks other than it was just supposed to be futuristic.
And so he gets a marker, Thorne, gets a marker from the sanitation guy. And the sanitation guy says, I get my normal cut. He says, yeah, you'll get your cut. And they do some shady business later in the chief's office. I'm not exactly sure what it is, but we'll get to there when we get to there. Now, Thorne, at this point, rides home on the garbage truck that has the dead body in it, and he's got a pillowcase full of goodies. He's stolen Simons's silk pillowcase, which they then later turn into a tablecloth, which I freaking love that touch. All of this like delicious food that he's never had before, and of course a nice bottle of hooch. He climbs up those people's stairs. And all the buildings, you see this a couple of times in the movie when Thorne goes in different buildings, have someone with a machine gun guarding the stairs to keep people from getting to the top of them to where the apartments are, which I thought also was kind of an interesting touch.
Indeed. Also, I'm not sleeping too easy, depending on whose shift it is. If someone's got an automatic like assault rifle just at the top of the steps, I don't feel great about that. That's not comfortable sleep. You're already sleeping on 7 steps, and then there's a guy who you kind of trust holding a weapon that can kill everybody in about 10 seconds. Like, I don't know about that.
Yeah, it's so scary you forgot words, Travis. And the man looks like he's like 9,000 years old, so I don't know that his vision's really great in the dark. But you know what? That's not our problem to solve. What is our problem to solve is moving along back at Thorne's place. He shows Saul all of his stolen goods. And he gives some books and they're also very excited about those stolen goods. He gives Saul these books that he found that kind of has history and information about the Soylent company. And maybe some information is going to come out of these books that's relevant to the plot later. In fact, Travis, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that it is.
Yeah, and for specific years, 2015 to 2019. So recent times for the both of us. Both us and Charlton Heston in this movie.
And Edward G. Robinson's character Saul can barely believe that he's looking at a bottle of bourbon. And like Thorne is just laughing. And he shows him this modest food. It's like a stick of celery, like an onion, and this hunk of beef. And it's just like the most mind-blowing thing. In fact, it's so mind-blowing, it makes Saul start to cry.
Yeah.
And it's mostly that he's sad because he remembers how much better the world was. And he says, I should have gone home long ago, which in the vernacular of this movie, I mean, that's not that hard to figure out. It means he should have died. He wishes that he had died.
Yeah. Which did take me a while to figure out. It's not to the very end where I was like, oh, that home. I thought he wanted to go back to Cincinnati where his folks grew up. I didn't know what he meant. But also, this is you. If you're eating those Soylent bars, Kev, you're going to be, 50 years later, you see a piece of celery go by, you'd be crying. You'd be like, oh, I missed you so much. That's what this is trying to show. You
Nah.
You got to take a lesson from this, man.
That's 50 years. I haven't had to worry about, like, washing a dish or anything. I'm just, like, chowing down on a bar and living my life. That sounds pretty good, man.
Such a soy boy.
I really am. I am such a soy boy. Well, they have a little dialogue. I don't think it's a scene. Actually, I think it's early in the movie that has a bit of a line that I really love from this movie where Thorne's like, yeah, the world or the people were better when you were younger. And Saul's like, oh, no, people were always awful. It's just the world was better. And I was like, I kind of like that line. It's such a good line. Well, at the precinct, Thorne heads in after dropping off all his ill-gotten goods with Saul, and it's packed. There's a lot of pandemonium going on. People are trying to cash in these things that are called death markers. When somebody dies, you can get like apparently food coupons or some money. And so he goes to see the chief, and he tries to fix the chief's watch. I love this because the chief asks him, hey, what time is it? Or like they're trying to figure out what time it is, and just nobody knows. And the chief is the only one that has a watch that kind of worked. It's just that feeling of looseness. Like everything is just starting to fray a little bit, and I really like that a lot.
Yeah, that's a good point. And the watch, that whole scene is kind of interesting because it's like, obviously it's not the first time that he's had to like deal with this dude's watch before. So this is just an ongoing thing where he's always kind of correcting the time for everyone else. This guy has way more control than he thinks he does. If you are responsible for everyone else's time sync, you're God.
Yeah, you are, man. Well, he kind of tries to fix the watch. It doesn't work out so much for him. He's not able to fix it this time. And then the chief asks about Saul and where they're at on a case, and he's like, I'm still looking into it. And he's like, you really need to get rid of Saul. He's not good anymore. We need to get you somebody new. And Thorne's like, no, I'll hang on to this guy. I like him. So they have a little bit of dialogue about that. And then they do whatever this kind of shady business is. The only thing I can think is like the marker is like basically the death money for this Simonson, and so he splits it with the chief and the coroner or the sanitation guy that comes and picks up the body. That's the only thing I can think that they do with this like death marker thing.
Yeah, same. The book probably fleshes it out more. It doesn't end up really being a huge deal.
No, it's not. It doesn't matter one bit, but I just think it's an interesting bit of kind of world building, and I was unclear exactly what they were doing, so I think that's some poor writing there. I think they need to clear that up. So if they could just do a remake of this and make sure that they cover that. We also find out how Thorne's mind works. It works pretty well. He's like, no, this was an assassination. He's like, why do you think that? And he lists out about 8 clues that he kind of picked up just through conversation that makes it kind of point to it being assassination. For example, obviously all the security was out. His guard was gone. The weapon that he used was a weapon made to look like it was just a regular break-in instead of a gun, because a gun would mean that somebody that had the money to buy a gun and get a gun had killed him. So
right, he's like, it can't be a punk. It's got to be an assassin that staged it to look like a punk.
Yeah. So we find out he has in fact been assassinated, and it's like, oh dang, that's
he also was kind of like wanted to be. He basically let the guy kill him, so it's not,
I mean, yeah, I guess, I don't know.
Is it a mystery? I mean, who cares?
Oh, and then they're also very suspicious that there was an inside guy, and that basically helped set it up. And Thorne is pretty sure it's the bodyguard. Yeah. So he kind of stakes out the bodyguard's apartment and waits for him to leave because he wants to kind of go check it out. So he's kind of watching him on the green streets of New York City.
Mean streets.
That's right. And he goes into the bodyguard's apartment.
Also, look at people just sleeping on steps. There's all kinds of places they could be right now. They're outside in the green smog. Sleep on the flat ground. There's look, right there. Look there. Look there. Look at all that ground.
Travis, people listening to this can't look at them.
I don't care. There's people sleeping on steps. They could be on the ground.
You're really upset. You're more upset about this than the murder.
The murder, the guy wanted it.
Okay. All right. I guess so. Well, anyway, you're right, Travis. I do agree with you that people could be sleeping places other than those steps. I don't know. Maybe it's a custom in New York. Maybe it's fleshed out more in the book. Okay.
You would not believe how much this bothered. You're starting to believe. But I don't think you believe quite yet how much that bothered me. Watch the movie. It broke it. And my immersion was shattered. I was like, oh, we're going to go sleep on steps.
Fair enough, man. Okay, I won't bring up the steps anymore. I think that's
stop it. Cut it out.
So anyway, on the steps in the building, there's a guy staked out with a machine gun who is, again, I'm not commenting on the man's physique in a negative way, just saying that he has some adipose tissue. So you're like, okay, if you're casting people for this movie, could you make them skinny? Like they need to be starving.
About that. Holy crap! Yeah. I bet thyroid,
or maybe being the gun guy on the stairs has its benefits, and that's cheeseburgers.
Yeah. Soylent cheeseburgers.
Soylent cheeseburgers. I do love veggie burgers, man. Well, anyway, in the bodyguard's apartment, we meet his lady that lives in his house, and she is eating a jar of what appears to be strawberries or strawberry preserves when Thorne knocks on the door. We get the idea that those are a rare commodity, and it would be suspicious that she's eating them. So she kind of hides them, but she forgets about the spoon that has a little bit of strawberry on it, Travis. So just keep that in mind, buddy.
Oh, I will keep that in mind. There's two things I'm going to keep in mind in this here scene. The first is that spoon. The second is there is a needless, non-load-bearing column in this kitchen that becomes very important later on. Everyone leans on it, walks past it, but later in the movie, it gets what's coming to it. Did you notice that when you watched it, that one beam in the kitchen that seems out of place? You're like, why is that here?
Yeah. I mean, gosh, you can't throw a guy through a beam if you don't have a beam, Travis.
I know. I love that they established the beam early so they could break the beam later. I was actually very happy about that. That was very satisfying to me. I almost got over people sleeping on steps when I saw the beam broke. I was like, I'm back.
It's straight up Chekhov's beam. I really like it. So, So Thorne is kind of nosing around the apartment, and he doesn't really find anything. He finds an incinerator in the bedroom, and he asks the lady who is the lady who lives in this guy's apartment to come in there and look at it, and that's when she sees a spoon. She tries to get it before he sees it, and she's unable because he calls her in there. And they have a little bit of dialogue about, just who she is, about the bodyguard, and he kind of
now she's bodyguard's furniture, right? Did you establish that already?
Yeah. I just was trying not to use the term furniture because I don't like it, but it's the term in the movie. Yeah, it's gross, but it's the term.
I was curious to see if I followed this right. She has this spoon that has a food remnant on it, like a jelly of some sort, which we know in this world that's
strawberries.
Very rare commodity. It turns out that it's strawberries. Mm-hmm. But is she worried, because she sees the spoon and is worried about it, does she know that he'll connect that they don't have the income to have food, much less this food on this spoon? How did they get it? Or is having food illegal and he's a cop and this is bad for them? Like, is it more about the implication?
Okay, so imagine that a police officer pulls up to your house, Travis, okay? And you live in a modest but nice domicile. But in the parking lot, you have like a $250,000 or a $500,000 Ferrari. That's kind of what this is like.
Have you seen my game room? I hope the cops don't go down there. They'll be like, dude, you got a Ferrari down here.
It's like, this is amazing. They're not going to know what any of that stuff is. They're going to be like, I had one of those when I was a young feller, too. And they'll pat you on your head.
Every time we have a contractor over, he'll walk in and be like, hey, man, this is awesome. You got Super Mario Brothers? No, that's the one I don't have.
That's
Sorry.
The one I don't.
Get out of here.
You got that Maniac Mansion, too. That's what I love. So anyway, so in other words, having an item of that expense would be suspicious, yes. That's the gist of what you're trying to get to there, Travis.
Okay.
She also offers him some sex before he leaves, and he's like, nah, I'm busy. And then he leaves.
He says something like it's like, if I had time, I'd have asked for it. And I was like, at least he would have asked. Like, I appreciated it.
Yeah.
Always ask the furniture first.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I can't agree with that enough. But don't call them furniture. It's just kind of...
I mean, just even legit furniture. If you're about to go at a sofa, you'd be like, hey, sofa, is it cool?
Is it? Are we okay? Well, anyway, he leaves, and oh my gosh, that spoon is gone. So he did see that spoon and take that spoon with him because he was suspicious. Then he heads back to his place where Thorne and Saul, that's whose place I'm talking about, they decide they're going to chow down on all of this food. So they have this feast. Now they have the tablecloth of the silk pillowcase.
I didn't even notice that. Nice touch.
Yeah. they had a full, I guess it was a 3-course meal technically. Saul busts out the silverware, which is in this like little tiny,
like a jewelry box.
yeah, like a jewelry box. They eat some lettuce, which they got, and Thorne is not super impressed with the lettuce. He's like, oh, okay,
He's like, yeah, Soylent Green is better than this, and I believe him.
Yeah, I totally do. But
and then Saul brings out a pot of just dog shit, and he's like,
I thought it was beef stew. I thought
Was
it was
it beef stew?
I mean, they don't have a lot of ingredients to cook with here, bro. But whatever it is, I assume it's the celery and the onion and the beef, all just kind of slow simmered together, whatever. But it apparently is the most delicious thing that Thorne has ever had in his life.
he loves it. Is this also the scene where they eat the apple?
Yeah. That's their dessert. So they're having their whiskey. They're having their beef stew. It's just the most. I love it. I love this scene because it reminds me, like in movies where food is very scarce, or like books. I don't know if you've read or seen the movie The Road. There's a scene in there where the two main characters, it's this father and son duo, and they're just in absolute starvation. It's cannibalism. It's a very dystopian post-apocalyptic future, and they find this bunker that's just like loaded with food, and seeing them be able to eat or like enjoy it and actually have it is a very rewarding thing within this like confined little universe. I really like that, and I really like the portrayal and the performances here. And then like Thorne, he's a little bit more cavalier about eating it, because he's a younger guy, right? But Saul kind of knows what it means, to eat something like this, to eat this very special food. And, he's kind of not able to bite into the apple, so he cuts a little piece off so he can kind of savor it. And then, when you cut back to Thorne, he's just eating the whole thing.
I love that. I love that he did not know how to eat an apple. That was hilarious.
Well, just like it's so precious, you wouldn't waste the core, right? You would eat the whole
There's that
thing.
too. Yeah, there's that too. But there was some like cuteness about it where it was almost like watching Harry and the Hendersons for a minute. Where you're like, he's silly. He doesn't know what he's doing. Look at him eat that apple wrong. That's wild.
But I love that. I love this whole scene. I think it's just brilliantly performed and done. So anyway, they wrap up their amazing movie, this meal. Now this is the scene that I was talking about earlier where they have the little dialogue about how people were always bad, the world was just better. Then Thorne is getting ready to head back out for work, and he takes a moment, just smells that big brick of soap. He's like, oh god, this smells so good. Heck yeah.
It smells like me, kind of. Oh yeah, because I use this soap. Saul, rub some of this on your back. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh boy. That's how Saul got his nut. Anyway, moving along, Travis. Saul has been doing some research into Simonson, and we find out what we already know. He was a bigwig, but he also knew the governor, all right? Santini. And I get the feeling that like the governor is like the almost like an emperor of this district in the dystopian United States. You know what I mean?
And they do a good job of planting that name early on. Like when the very first scene where Thorne's watching TV, they're talking about Governor Santini on the TV, so you get that name there. And then when you're in, I can't remember the chief's name, but when he's in the chief's office, there's a vote for Santini poster on the wall. So he's kind of been this ever-present thing, and now he's about to become like important to our story. But yeah, you do get the impression because of all that imagery and how often he's talked about that he is maybe more than what we look to as a governor now. Like he's more in control.
Yeah, it's Hatcher, Chief Hatcher.
Hatcher.
I don't think I said that. And it doesn't really matter. He's the chief. He's like the chief in every movie. It's always just the chief.
The chief.
Well, we also find out that Simonson was in food production and that he was on the board of Soylent. Ooh, the plot thickens.
Sure does.
Right before he leaves, Thorne asks Saul to taste that spoon, and Saul tastes it and he says, well, that's strawberries. Those are $150 a jar.
Now, Kevin, I know in this universe, there's, different context. But if we're hanging out and I pull a spoon out of my pocket that's got red stuff on it, and I'm like, give it a try. Let me know what you think. Are you going to put that spoon in your mouth that you just watched me pull it? And why doesn't it have lint stuck on it? Where's that spoon been this whole time? It wasn't concealed in a baggie. It was just loose with sticky jelly in his pocket.
You know what? He probably dropped it on those stairs, too.
And people were sleeping on the stairs. There's so much stuff.
I might sniff it. First.
Sniff it.
If you, Travis, if you came to me, because I trust you, Travis, and you say, Kevin, it's very important that you lick this spoon, I'd be like, all right, bud, I'll do it for you, just for you.
What if Uncle Doug asked you?
Fuck no. No way. Man, I've seen how that dude lives. Any spoon he wants me to lick is not worth the tetanus shot I'm going to need when I'm done. Round of shots.
It's like, Doug, just run it through the sink water. Wash it yourself.
He's like, I ran it under cold water. It's clean. All right. Doug. Well, anyway, back on the street, Thorne is heading out to continue his investigation. He hears a can being kicked behind him, so assumes that he's being followed. Okay.
Man, by the worst followers ever. By wind, maybe? A light breeze was following.
Like, there's straight up trash everywhere. Like, you're going to hear trash noise. Like, I don't know that would tell me somebody was following me. Well, it doesn't matter if it would tell me because it tells Thorne, and he's an A-plus detective. So he calls Chief Hatcher and kind of fills him in on some of the investigation and that Simonson was a big deal with Soylent. And it seems like Chief Hatcher keeps trying to get Thorne to come in, and he's like, no, I got to do some more investigating. I'll come by tomorrow. He's like, well, sure would be good if he came by for a few minutes. He's like, no, I got to go do something else. So we cut back to the scene in Chief Hatcher's office. It kind of pans around, and we see Donovan. That's right, the company man. The dude that wears sunglasses indoors at night so you know he's bad with his beret on.
Yeah, and he kind of looks like James Spader, which is cool because I like James Spader. But I mean, the plot thickens again. We've got collusion between law enforcement and this bad mamma jamma, this enforcer of sorts.
Yeah, Donovan, the bad dude's just like, hey, you got to make this case go away. We don't need it anymore. And he's like, okay, sure, sounds good. Yeah, whatever. I'm open to bribes. Sounds good to me. Well,
there's like a little thing that he turns over on his desk that says closed to bribes and open to bribes. He had it turned to open to bribes. That's why that guy walked in there.
It's got a little smiley face on it, just so you know.
Open to bribes today. Until 6.
Until 6. And then it's time for my squash game. Well, anyway, back at Simonson's apartment, all the girls that are the furniture in this apartment building are having a nice little kind of get together, a nice little party, little ladies' night, shout out, whoop, whoop. And they're having some drinks. And then Thorne comes in, and he's like, oh, dang, there's a lot of ladies here. Hey, is that ice in a bourbon? Let me have that. He just starts drinking this delicious ice-filled bourbon, takes a ciggy from a lady. My man steps into the party and gets right to it.
Yeah, dude, he like walked into there and he was like, what is this, a Shules? Look at all the furniture in here. What are you guys doing? This is Wayfair Market?
You think people will get the Shules joke there? That's pretty good.
I threw in Wayfair Market, and we'll see. What is this?
It's a furniture company? Store, guys. It's a furniture store.
What is this? Good job, Heilig Meyer? Anyway,
you could say Sears department store in the 1980s.
I couldn't think of a freaking furniture store that was non-regional. They're like grocery stores, but I always appreciate that Thorne always has that little necktie,
a little cravat.
And when he goes in there, he tightens it a little bit to look a little cuter.
Yeah, he does.
Because he's like, dang, this furniture looks great.
Well, then he says, hey, Cheryl, could you come in the bedroom with me? And they're very he's sort of asking more questions about the investigation, but they're also just sort of business casual, taking their clothes off, getting ready to do the business.
Well, he also just sniffs everything he finds. He's so curious. It's like the first time he's ever been out of prison or anything. But it's weird because he is a cop and he's like 50. Has he not investigated people that had houses before?
I guess not, man. I guess, or maybe he's finally gotten promoted to detective and this is like his first big rich people case. I don't know.
It's
but
wild.
Anyway,
I got questions.
Cheryl is sort of making down the bed and they're taking their clothes off. And the big bit of interesting information that Thorne gets here about Simonson is, a few things. Like he'd been acting weird, he'd been crying, and they had asked Cheryl to come to church with him. All right, and that he talked at length to a priest. All right, so that'll be important very shortly. Well, talking aside, Thorne says, I really don't get this Simonson guy. I'll tell you what, if I had a pretty lady like you and a nice place like this and money, I wouldn't be crying. I'd be banging.
Yeah. And I nodded along to that. I was like, that sounds wonderful. It seems my thoughts of this, all my negative thoughts regarding this world have withered away as well. I think this could be nice. We should have a future together. We could eat Soylent Green for breakfast and dinner and lunch and hang out. That would be great. You know what? We're not going to hang out on the steps. People all over them. We'll have to go somewhere else. If we want to go up, we'll have to find an elevator.
Yeah, that's much better. You notice the building that Simonson lives in, no stairs, actually. They just have elevators. I don't know if you know that. It's like a rich people thing in this world.
It must be, yeah.
Well, they get to doing the business, and presumably they've sort of wrapped things up. And, presumably. And Charles comes in, and he finds all of the young ladies, all of the quote-unquote furniture, having this party. He's like, this is against regulations, and he just starts straight up punching all the women.
He does, which is not okay at all. I didn't like that scene very much. Kevin, you said you loved it, and there's no it's wild, but he says we give them a month off or a day off a month, and they still are groveling and complaining. It's like, damn, dude, one day off a month? You got to give them more than that, man.
Yeah,
Come on.
I mean, the part of this,
you should set them free.
The part, yeah, exactly. Thank you, Travis. I am also against people being in bondage, but also the thing that I liked in the scene, since you said I liked it, is Thorne gives Charles a nice threat. He says, if that ever happens again, we're gonna have a problem, buddy, because we want to keep things friendly, don't we? And Charles is like, yeah, and then he leaves like a little punk, and I like that.
I mean, me too, but I thought, like, if you walked in on a guy who was just dude, even if he was smacking around my real furniture, I'm not going to threaten him. I'm going to take him down, dude. I'm going violent then.
When did you turn to Jean-Claude Van Damme over a sofa?
I mean, maybe if you're smacking around my sofa, I'd be like, bro, where you at? Hey. You know? But I mean, especially if
we're not
that
talking
sofa
about
were
a
woman.
Sega Genesis here, Travis. We're just talking about a sofa.
I'm just saying, I don't like a guy coming in there and abusing things for no reason. It doesn't make any sense. He didn't need to do that. So I was surprised Charlton Heston didn't take him down then. I thought Thorne was going to... I was like, this is going to be a great fight scene right here. This is going to be great. But a threat. Hey, stop hitting so many women. Yeah, calm down.
I mean, he's holding a gun. That was a pretty serious threat.
I wanted more.
I mean, Travis, let's say somebody was at your house and they were kicking your sofa, and I pulled out a gun. I was like, you better stop. We need to keep this friendly. Would you be like, oh, that was a pretty good escalation, Kevin? Or would you be like, maybe not the gun. Maybe just leave maybe throw a guy through a non-load bearing beam, but don't be pulling out a gun. Well, anyway,
it depends.
Let's leave that to the side. Cheryl, all the ladies leave, and Cheryl says, hey, will you stay? I don't like being alone. And he's like, I really gotta run. And you're like, where you gotta go? Like, the world's awful. It's air conditioned in here and there's booze, but okay.
Yeah, like you can actually breathe the air in here. Like, you should stay.
Yeah.
Also, people are just running into her place and beating the hell out of her. So stay, please.
Yeah, I think to be fair, she has a good point there to want somebody. She's like, well, Charles isn't going to come back, so I'll cook you anything you want for breakfast. And he's like, well, I do like breakfast and I like the bang bang. So they do both of those things. And eventually he asks her, it's very interesting here. He asks her if she has any strawberries. He wants strawberries for breakfast.
Got that taste.
So I think now that I'm putting this in, I'm doing this real time. He is suspicious that the bodyguard maybe stole the strawberries, or he wanted to see if he could establish some connection between Cheryl and the bodyguard and these strawberries. So I did think that was an interesting little take. I don't know where his angle on that was, but it was interesting. They also then take a shower and giggle together.
That was wild. Why are they giggling so much? That bothered me too.
They're tickling each other. You just get in the shower and tickle each other. You guys don't do that?
No, that was so weird. The giggling thing. Can you imagine how many takes that took where they're like, Heston, more giggles. Pretend to like it.
More giggles.
You sound miserable in there. Quit moaning.
Well, I love the juxtaposition from scene to scene here, because it ends with them in a shower giggling, and then it's a dead lady on the street with a baby tied to her wrist.
That I didn't like. This movie goes back and forth between things that are wild and things I just don't plain like.
Well, presumably this lady had just dropped dead in front of this church where she was trying to get the child to be safe at Charlton Heston. The kid's like crying and upset, and he carries it in like he's carrying a freaking 2x4. Like he has no regard for this child. He's like, "Here, take this thing," and he hands it to the nun.
It was a real like kind of like a found your phone. Like just I found this. Wasn't like it's a human.
Right. The child is alive, by the way. The mother is dead. Sorry, I should mention that.
Yeah.
Well, in the church, he meets the priest, Father Paul, that Simonson had spoke to, and Father Paul's not okay. It looks like he's malnourished, physically exhausted, and whatever the confession that Simonson made is weighing on him heavily. This father, but the father refuses to tell him what the confession was, and they just cut away. So we don't know how the conversation ended. I assume Thorne was just like, "Okay, well, that seems good. See you later," and just headed back to the precinct. Well, him and Chief Hatcher have a disagreement because Hatcher obviously has sort of been bribed to make this case disappear. And Thorne's like, "No, this is my job. Like, I'm not going to lose my job over this. I'm not going to lay down on this one." And Hatcher's like, "Well, that's how I get my nut." And you're like, "Okay, settle down." And then finally, they have this argument, and Thorne sort of leaves, refusing to settle the case down. Well, news or word of that must have gotten back to Donovan, the evil company man, because he's meeting with Santini in a tent that has a tree in it. I don't know any other way to say it. It's like the last tree in New York City, apparently.
Yeah, I guess it is their idea of I guess that's Central Park now. It's just a tent with a bush, and people come visit the bush.
Only rich people. If you're a stair sleeper, ain't no way you're getting into the arboretum.
But it's like little stuff like that where like when I'm watching the movie, I'm not picking up on that.
Can we get that on a T-shirt, by the way? If you're a stair sleeper, you're not getting in the arboretum.
I do like it.
I like
I'm
that.
I'm not a fan of stair sleepers. There's a lot of other places you could sleep that are flat.
Not in your arboretum, I'll tell you that.
Mm-hmm. But no, you pointing this out, like when you watch this movie, there are so many things happening in the environment that you might not catch because you're like, what in the world is this movie? What is this dialogue even talking about? What are they getting at? It is a rewatcher if you want to make the full sense of it. But I didn't even notice this like arboretum until you mentioned it. And it's like, yeah, it makes so much sense that they would have like a little enclosure where only rich people could come look at like weeds. And be like, it's like a museum for, whatever. It's fascinating.
It's freaking wild, man. Freaking wild, man. Well, Donovan is meeting with Santini, and Donovan starts to tell Santini more than he wants to know. He's like, no. I don't need to know any of this plausible deniability. Just do what you have to do to make it go away. Well, what he has to do is he basically calls up the bodyguard of Simonson and says, "Hey, I need you to go kill that priest." And, well, the bodyguard does exactly that. But what I love is that the priest is doing confession, and the line to get to the confessional was like 1.5 miles long. So the bodyguard just stood in this line waiting to go up there and murder that dude. Like, what was he thinking the whole time?
And there's a line after him, so they know who did it. Like, a guy stood in line visibly, the only guy wearing like clothes that were clean.
I don't know though. Like, if you lived in a city with 40 million people and you'd be like, "Hey, it was a guy with long hair and a hat," like, how are you gonna find that dude?
I mean, I guess that's fair, but like, you waited in line, you walked into the booth, the guy's like, "What? Yeah, whatever." I was like, "What? I have sinned." I don't know the cadence, but just shoots him and then walks out. And the next guy's got to go in there and be like, "Father, you in there? Hey."
Okay.
And he's got to assume that everybody that went before him also is like, he's not talking much today, right?
I like to think that the guy that like went in there after didn't know the father was dead. He's like, "Man, he let me off the hook easy."
Yeah,
like he didn't say nothing. I guess it wasn't as bad as what everybody else was doing.
Absolutely
awesome.
No Hail Marys out of me. I'm good.
Nope. But let me just tell you, that priest is dead.
He is dead.
And so we're back on the street, and this is that kind of street market. Oh, I forgot to mention Hatcher. I guess the chief, as punishment, told that Thorne that he had to go work riot duty, which seems like a worse duty than what he's doing. Like, I mean, really, he's just like hanging out in a rich lady's apartment. But Seems like this is worse. And they've got, this is where I was talking about, they got those delicious soy crumbs. They got the red and the yellow, and they got Soylent buns and all kinds of stuff. When the riot starts, and the riot is going to start here in a minute, nobody seems to care about all the other food, even though they're starving. They just want to make riot happen. And they want to make riot because if there's one thing I know in this life, Travis, Tuesday is Soylent Green Day, and they run out of Soylent Green on this Tuesday, and that's what kicks off this riot.
Yeah, and Soylent Green is kind of a new thing, right? Because they were advertising it at the beginning. It's like this all-new, super tasty plankton brick. It's amazing, and it's only on Tuesdays. So it would make sense that maybe they didn't plan enough for like having it all for everybody on one day in the world. That seems that's 40 million people. That's a lot of Soylent Green. I don't know if they did the math, Kevin. I would riot too. Give me my Soylent Green. You advertised it, or my money back.
Yeah, give my money back on this, man. I was expecting it's like this will be a dated reference that nobody's going to remember by the time this episode comes out, because it comes out like 2 years later than we recorded.
Yeah.
But like that meme of that like Wonka Land thing that that happened. This is kind of the Soylent Green version of that.
Yeah. And I love the scoopers. We bring out the scoopers. We got the big trucks scooping up people. Often, a lot of them willingly taking a ride.
Travis, there's like 20 things that you got to pick apart in the scene. First of all, the Gilbert, the assassin from earlier that killed Simonson, has worked his way into the crowd, presumably to kill Thorne. Second of all the riot police are wearing football helmets, and they are very clearly football helmets with the face mask from the 1970s. How did you not comment on that and comment on stairs sleeping?
I love all of it. It's all, and they're all like old Oakland Raiders helmets. They're silver. It's a good look, I gotta say.
But as you mentioned, the way they disperse riots in the future is they have giant garbage trucks with scoops on the front that just scoop up the hordes of people and dump them in the back. This is some stuff that I would see in my nightmare. Like, honestly, like being crowded and pushed forward and then being scooped into these trucks and dumped in the back, which to me, just looking at this from like a risk-averse standpoint, like that looks like the most dangerous stunt in this movie, like more than the guy falling off the ladder, because there's so much that could go wrong with people being dumped in a sharp metal bucket and they being dumped in the back of a truck, and it's like 10 or 15 dudes in these things.
Yeah, and the scoops aren't like bucket scoops necessarily. They're like the clawed, pokey scoops.
Yeah,
so
pokey.
It looks dangerous. And also, you can tell people are, like, you know, obviously acting, but you can kind of see through the cracks of some people, like, holding on to the bucket, but still writhing enough to be like, oh, no. But also, I want to hold myself up because I want to make it through the end of the scene.
Yeah, you're like, you can tell that some stunt guy was like, I made a bad decision today. I should have done that Steve McQueen movie. This is garbage. But, well, anyway, what happens is the assassin finally gets close enough to take a shot at Thorne. He shoots a lady in the head instead of Thorne. Thorne chases him. They have a little tussle, and Thorne just straight up just chucks this dude. I guess presumably pulled the gun out and shoot him. The guy shoots Thorne first, but only kind of grazes his calf, and then the scoop comes down and smooshes this guy. Just, Gilbert's done. And he's got a wife and kid at home and a water collection tank and a car. Like, he was doing good in this life. Shouldn't have came after Thorne, though, should he, Travis?
You shouldn't, man. You shouldn't, and you gotta hope his wife has a driver's license or their home's not going anywhere.
Fair enough. Well, after this scuffle, Thorne, because he has been attempted murder, is pretty angry, and he shows up at the bodyguard's place because he knows this is his only clue. And man, he hits this guy with one heck of a straight-up movie punch where you can tell he's about 14 feet away from the guy.
And he just jumps backwards.
Jumps across the room, smashes the table, and Thorne is just laying a beating on this dude. And the guy's not fighting back because he says he would get the death penalty if he fights back. And this is, of course, your favorite scene, Travis, because that beam comes in handy, doesn't it?
Yeah, dude. So earlier, we didn't mention it earlier, but when he came by earlier to talk to, what's her name?
Furniture.
He comes by to talk to Furniture when he steals the spoon. She talks to him the whole time, leaning up on this post in the middle of the kitchen that no one cares about. And when I was watching the movie, I was like, why would you put a post there? It's not a good place for a post. It's like if you're moving furniture into this place, you're going to have to go around the post. Everybody walking through the house is going to be like, watch out for the post. Watch out for the post. You'd have to tack like your to-do list on it. Maybe you'd have some utility. I don't know. I was bothered by the post. It was an eyesore in the scene. But then, I'll be dang if Thorne doesn't punch that bodyguard right snap through that post. It was satisfying to see it removed. I didn't think it should be there. Clearly not load-bearing. No one's going to miss it.
Yeah.
I loved it.
I knew that was your favorite scene in the movie. You talked about it nonstop.
It brought me back.
You actually had Uncle Doug rewind this movie 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
And you were actually telling him, it's like, watch this part.
I did. I became the worst. It was like, Doug, get back it. Watch this post. Watch it.
Watch this. Well, at the end of the day, the bodyguard eventually is not given a lot of information, but he does start to fight back after Thorne kind of like smacks his lady around, and because the lady attacks him.
Yeah.
So Thorne is kind of defending himself, but he gets a little excessive.
Yeah, a little
with the
excessive.
slapping,
Yeah,
but,
I would agree with that.
and then the bodyguard flies across the room with like a Jackie Chan style crane kick, which is pretty awesome.
Pretty fun
and
fight scene.
The fight wraps up with everybody having a bloody nose, and Thorne leaves and heads back to Simonson's because he's worried about Cheryl. He's developed some feelings, ain't he, Travis?
And he's going to run right in there and give her a naked hug.
Yep, he's going to do that for sure. Well, Saul has been reading his books, and this is all a little muddy how this plays out. But he goes to see the Exchange, and the Exchange is kind of like a combination of, I guess, like career, governmental, judge, police researchers would be kind of the way to put it. I guess they make legislative decisions or something like that, and also are this repository of information. I don't know. They were kind of a nebulously defined thing. But anyway, he goes to visit them. They're super impressed with his book about the Soylent Company. And then we cut back to Simonson's apartment, and Cheryl has sort of patched up Thorne's leg wound. If we've learned one thing, it's couples really bond over getting your leg wound patched up. You know what I mean?
It's true. That is true.
That's true. Well, they discuss how dangerous other cities are, because Cheryl says, let's run away together. And he's like, well, where would we go? I mean, we can't go to other cities. They're just as bad. She's like, well, what about the country? He's like, those farms are, big commercial farms that are like in just high security. We just get murdered trying to get in. So there's nowhere else to go. This is it, right? Well, back at the Exchange, the judges or wise elders or whatever they are kind of went through the book, and they dropped a heavy revelation on Saul about the Soylent Company. He doesn't divulge to us, the audience, at this point, what exactly is going on. Now, back at Simonson's. Oh, he also, sorry, this is actually very important, Travis, and I know you'll think this is very important.
I will.
This revelation is weighing so heavily on him, he says, yeah, I think it's finally time I go home.
Yeah. Which back in Cincinnati, where his folks grew up.
Yeah, they're probably be glad to see him. They hadn't seen him in quite a few years. He didn't get home to visit the way he should, but he always loves it when he does. He loves going to that same Denny's that he ate at growing up. It's still a business.
Yeah.
That's wild.
But no, he wants to die.
He actually, he wants to die. That's the gist. Well, anyway, back at Simonson's apartment, the new tenant, Thorne has left. The new tenant is meeting Cheryl, and he's just straight up creepy. We get the sense that he is kind of a creepy, nasty dude.
If you're a bachelor looking for a place in a world where a new lease comes with a woman as furniture, you're creepy every time. There's actually no way to not be creepy. Even if you were trying your best not to be creepy, you're still a little creepy. Because you got to interview the furniture. And that's not... What are we doing?
That's a weird world to live in. Frankly, if I was rich enough, I would have an apartment to myself with no lady, to be honest with you. You got people sleeping on the stairs everywhere. It's like, I don't want to be around nobody. I just want to come back to my nice apartment with the lamp that looks like a peacock and just chill.
I'm so anti having furniture right now. I've been standing for this whole episode.
Well, I'm against chairs. You know that. So moving forward, we get the feeling that dude is seriously creepy. He also asks her if she's a fun girl when his friends come over. Didn't like that. Didn't like the way he said it.
Well, maybe he means like, do you participate in karaoke or Xbox? You know,
no,
like,
I think it means they were going to, is what it means, Travis. I don't think. Okay, I think that's what it means. So anyway, moving right along, Travis. The Thorn heads back to his apartment and he finds a note from Saul. Saul has somehow had time to do all of these things. I guess, despite being old, he's moves quickly. Well, he leaves a note telling Thorn that he's going home, and then and Thorn's like, "Oh, that's bad." And then we cut to this very, very nice facility. I mean, I'm going to be honest. If you're going to die, this place seems way nicer than the outside world. It's air conditioned and just looks terrific. Well, and there's a little cutting back and forth as Thorn is trying to get to this facility, which turns out is kind of just a suicide parlor is really what this place is.
Suicide parlor. That's a good name for like a goth band.
For sure. Good. Yeah, it's the new My Chemical Romance.
Suicide Parlor. Wow,
Suicide Parlor. And in fact, actually, I believe that the actor that plays the attendant who is checking Saul in and asks him what his favorite color is and what his favorite movie is, his actual character descriptor and name in the credits was Suicide Parlor Attendant.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow.
Something along those lines. Well, anyway, Saul fills out all his paperwork, and he heads into this pseudo-religious-looking environment. It's a big open theater, essentially, and there's two people in white robes, and they help him disrobe and get naked, and then he gets under a nice sheet in this nice, comfortable bed in this air-conditioned room, and you got to feel like this is some amazing luxury. And they give him some beverage, which presumably is the thing that is going to kill him, and he drinks it. So we know more or less that Saul's time is limited, and Thorn is trying to get there where he can talk to him. He's dealing with his attendant, and just about the time he gets there, he sees Saul in the bed. He's like, I'm too late. They've already gave him the poison. And this metal...
I will say he did casually walk down the hallway. He did not go to Saul like maybe Saul was going to die. He was just like, which one is it? Last one on the left? Okay, let me just...
He's like, hold on, I got to go to the bathroom real quick. I just, I'll be right there. Well, he gets into the observatory room for this theater, and this metal shutter closes, and he threatens the suicide parlor attendant and says, you better figure out a way to open it or I'm going to kill you. And the guy's like, okay, settle down. All right. So he opens it up, and Saul's in there, and it's this panoramic view of just the Discovery Channel.
Yeah, giving him a taste of the old times. Gets to see wild animals and
beautiful
green
fields and lakes and lush mountains and life before everything was ruined. Just fields of tulips and sunsets. And it is like, you're watching, I kept expecting the David Attenborough narration to kick in. You know what I mean?
It's also like in a way like he's watching... Well, given his age, his life flashed before his eyes. He's literally seeing like memories that he has flashed in front of him that no one else has, or very few people have anymore.
So, and this is the footage that everybody sees as they're being ushered out through this suicide, service, I guess you would say, and Thorn is just enraptured by this. Like, he's never seen anything like this because he didn't live in this world. He didn't know there was a lush world like this. So his eyes are just fixed on this. And then he's like, "Oh dang, I gotta try to talk to Saul to find out what's going on." So he gets Saul on this sort of two-way not walkie-talkie, like intercom system. Saul's like, "Hey, I told you that this was like it," and he's like, "I had no idea. Like I couldn't even conceive something this beautiful," is what Thorn says. Well, they finally get down to it. The thing is sort of cutting out. The intercom system's kind of cutting out, and Saul's starting to die. And so Thorn gets on these headsets. So we as the audience can't hear what Saul is telling him. But Saul tells Thorn this sort of big revelation that we have been sitting on, marinating on, this thing that's driven the father insane, that has made Simonson accept his own death, has sent Saul to go kill himself. And I love how Saul is alive. He's in this beautiful orange light. He's seeing this stuff. And then when he dies, the fluorescents just come on and they just wheel him out. Next.
It's like when the lights come up at a theater and you're like, oh yeah, reality. It sucks, dude.
Except you're dead in this case. So
yeah.
So Saul is no longer. He is gone home. And Thorne decides, you know what, I've got to follow up on this tip. And we're like, he basically gets told to go to the processing plant by Saul. That, you know, we kind of catch that little bit of kind of garbled information. So Thorne does what he does best and hops on another garbage truck. But he
does manage to go down 4 flights of people-less stairs, which was a breath of fresh air for me. I was like, oh, thank God.
And there was alleyways, nobody's sleeping there, you know.
Yeah, come on.
And now this is the garbage truck that gets all the dead bodies from the suicide parlor. All right, and he hops aboard one of those bad boys, kind of skulks around a little bit.
Which, by the way, I don't think I'm hopping in the back of one of those.
Why not?
I'm not sure what that contraption's up to.
You were all about the scoops earlier.
But what if that contraption just flips me on back over, and then I'm just in there with a bunch of? Then I become. I get out. I'm on the conveyor belt. You know, you don't want that to happen.
Well, I'll tell you this: Thorne is moving really good for a guy that has a bullet in his calf. I'll tell you that. He hustles and catches a moving truck.
That's fair. He's not even been limping, and we just talked about how he just walked casually into the. He wasn't even limping casually.
He does. If you pay attention when he's walking down the stairs and skulking in the suicide parlor, he does walk with a little bit of a limp. So I will give him that. But then the stunt guy, he didn't get the message that he needed to like have a limp as he was sprinting towards the truck. Well, Saul gets in the back of this truck, then climbs on top of it so that he can be taken into this processing plant, which is very clearly some sort of power plant. Like, I don't know a lot about food production, but I can tell you, ain't no Fig Newtons being made in this place. Because there's like turbines and stuff. You're like, all right, well, people in the 70s were pretty dumb. They didn't know science. I don't know science either. Travis, you've got a PhD. You do, but I don't. Anyway, moving on. We see all of these bodies are kind of being dumped out and loaded into this plant, and Thorne, is sort of skulking around, and he finds a conveyor belt where all the bodies are kind of being headed lower. And Travis, to your credit here, this is kind of a slow-moving segment of the movie. Like, this does go on for a while.
It does, and this is... I really struggled with this part because it was already late. My edible had kicked in. I just got through a suicide parlor, so I was kind of relaxed. That's a pretty down moment. Right. And then we just have, they must have paid an exorbitant amount of money to rent this factory for this shot because they weren't giving up any shots that they got. They're like, go up this flight of stairs, go down that flight of stairs. Let's get you from this angle, run across this scaffolding, run back across it. Now let's run across it again, low light. Go down this flight of stairs again, highlight. Goes on and on and on and on. I want to say it's like at least 10 minutes of the movie.
Well, we do get some information. We find out that these bodies are being dumped in a big vat of green goo. We pretty much at this point, I'm going to go ahead and spoil it, Travis. Soylent Green is made out of peoples.
What the?
Yeah. Yeah, buddy. I know I ruined that just a smidge before we normally would, but it's important to know at this point because...
But don't you think it's the worst kept secret in the movie? Like early in the movie, before we even get little hints, you're kind of already suspecting that, no? Like that's...
yeah, for sure.
I was shielded. This was my first watch. I was completely shielded from the memes. I never picked up on the little memes that I got. I never really knew what the point of the movie was at all, ever. I wasn't ever interested enough to care. And
to be fair, I don't think you are still. I still don't think you're interested enough to care.
I really was hoping, because I know like this movie's known for its classic revelation. And I was like, well, what could that big reveal be other than the fact that I know that's made out of people? What's it going to be? Was he really a Wolverine in a man's clothes this whole time? Like, what is the big reveal? No, it's just that the It's just that it's made up.
He is actually. It turns out he is a bunch of ferrets in a man coat. That's exactly what. Thorn
That would have
is.
been a good way to go out. Or what if he was the Statue of Liberty at the end? That would have been hilarious.
Yeah, that would have been even better. Well, moving along, we see these bodies getting dumped in this green vat. This troubles me because they don't take the sheets off of them first, so people are eating like a portion of sheet with their Soylent Green. I just from a food production standpoint, I don't like
white
that.
sheet. Where does the green come in?
Maybe it's edible. I don't know, but maybe the sheets are edible. I don't know. But anyway, we find out that they're made out of people, and he's like, "Oh crap!" So he kicks a dude off a ladder when he gets spotted, and he escapes in his preferred mode of transportation, a trash truck, and so. When he gets away, he tries to call into the chief, and he's like, "You've got to help me. I'm out here on the street near the processing plant," because we just see a bunch of dudes coming after him. Actually, there's a long pause where I'm sorry. It's actually kind of funny that it takes as long to catch him as it does, and where these guys just come out of nowhere, like how they found him, totally weird. But he calls. First he calls the station, and it's busy. And he's like, "Well, break in." And the guy's like, "Well, it's going to take a second." He's like, "Okay, well, while you're doing that, I need you to do something else for me. Connect me to my lady woman in the tower." So he connects to Cheryl, and he tells her, "Whatever you do, don't die." She's like, "Okay, so I'm going to do my best." And then it cuts in with the chief, and the chief's like, "What's going on?" He's like, "Hey, man, I'm in trouble. Can you come help me?" And about that time is when the bad guys start shooting at him. And he does a pretty good job. He kills like 4 of these dudes by just like falling over some trash cans and getting some good angles. But the bodyguard, right as...
He's back.
Yeah, he's back, man. And he's mad about that beam in his house, and he's mad about his bloody nose, and he's mad about his missing spoon. My man is not happy. Okay, he's got all the reason to come at Thorn. And he does. He like dead-eyes Thorn at like 45, 50 yards with a pistol right through the middle of him. As Thorn's running to a graveyard. Well, Thorn,
which, by the way, that was the moment that Thorn remembered that his calf hurt.
He's like, "Oh yeah, ow!" Well, he does. He gets shot right through the tummy, and but he's still moving. He's still up. Maybe it's not fatal. And he runs into the church, and the bodyguard comes in. He sort of is following Thorn's trail of blood to where he thinks Thorn is sleeping, and then some lady like stands up and sneezes, and he just shoots her.
Dude, that was wild.
Like,
how trigger happy?
I mean, pretty. He's pretty trigger happy. Well, at that point, him and Thorn get into a scuffle. He gets the better of Thorn because he's been shot twice, and the bodyguard's now able to use his full bodyguard skills. So he's just wailing on this dude, and he knocks him out. And then he picks up his gun. And he spends like a full minute and a half walking over to him. Plenty of time for Thorn to get a hold of a knife that just happens to be laying on the ground. And Thorn
just happens. What a serendipitous knife. I don't know that I've seen a knife of that caliber in such a great position. I mean, it was amazing.
It was amazing. It was, you know why it was there? It's because the writers wanted it to be there. But this thing is a prison shiv, dude. It's all like janky,
it's massive.
And huge, and like
it's like, I know you weren't cutting food with it. What's it for? Why is it here?
It's for stabbing bodyguards, and that's exactly what Thorn does. Boom, right in the dude's tummy, and the dude tries to shoot Thorn, but Thorn manages to kind of roll out of the way, and the bodyguard is dispatched. Well, about this time, Chief Hatcher comes in. And Thorn lays this revelation on him. He's like, "You've got to get me to the exchange." He's like, "Well, first of all, you've been shot twice. We're going to get you to a doctor." And he's like, No. You got to take me to the exchange. Soylent Green is made out of people. We've got to stop him. And then he's sort of being shouted this big revelation as he heads off, his bloody hand in the air, and the credits roll. And do you know what the credits are, Travis? It's those same scenes from the suicide parlor. So it's like they're telling us that this is this is our death. Is what I think it tells us. Like, this is your suicide parlor. You've got a short period of time. You've already been poisoned. You know what I mean? Like, this is the end. This is how it all ends. I thought that was kind of a cool touch. But what did you think about that? Like, I mean, it's a very quick bang, boom, 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 boom revelation, bloody hand into the movie. What did you think about all that?
Well, I do know, like, when this revelation happened, and we do get to see this, and you kind of feel like, oh no, this is so true to reality. We've actually set the world on this path of where we're using up all the resources and we're destroying the environment, and maybe this could be reality. I mean, this is when Trish came up off the couch and was like, "We got to recycle," and we had to calm her down.
God,
but
yeah.
I think I do, like, as far as the ending goes, the build-up, I don't know, they missed the step. There was something there that it didn't hit like I wanted it to. So I was kind of happy that it went out as fast as it did, because it didn't land like I was hoping that it would. Because, the revelation, you saw it a mile away.
Yeah, but are you able to put yourself in like a 1973 audience member's head who hasn't seen anything like this? You know what I mean? Like I
was thinking about that. Like, I bet the reveal is, well, actually, I don't know. I feel like that would maybe be harder to do in the book, but the book obviously was relevant enough at the time for it to be made into a movie. So maybe the impact of the story carried a little bit more weight when it's told through a stronger lens through the world, because we just kind of get a glimpse of it here, and it takes rewatches, and you've kind of shown it throughout this episode that there's like little things in the backdrop and things that you don't really pick up on initially that really add layers and textures. And I think that's really what's most impressive about this. I don't think the story is all that compelling. I think it's kind of, it's predictable and it's just a few beats, but the whole world itself and the way that it really shows dystopia in this interesting way, I think is a very far-sighted view. Like, I think that was a really fantastic job of trying to replicate what 2022 would look like without being too crazy. It was believable enough. It was grounded enough. There weren't like people floating around on spaceships or however. It didn't go like too sci-fi. It was still very grounded in its approach, even though it was kind of ridiculous. And I like that.
Yeah, I think so, man. And I kind of go like, I mean, you got limited resources. Oh, that's revealed too, that like all the plankton in the oceans and everything is dying, and that's why they've created Soylent Green out of people, is just there's no other resources. And you kind of go like, yeah, I guess that's pretty much what you got to do. I mean, I'm not advocating for it, but like, you've got a huge quantity of food material you're just wasting here. You're just, if you were a soccer team in the Andes, or a rugby team maybe in the Andes, you wouldn't judge these people, and they're the futuristic version of a soccer team in the Andes. So they're just doing what they got to do to make sure the people get fed.
And that's a good point. Outside of wherever the scoopers may end up taking people, the folks that are turned into Soylent Green do seem to be going that way willingly. Maybe not understanding the fact that they are going to be eaten, but do you care? Would you care if you knew that it was going to sustain life after you? Would that be okay? Maybe. I wouldn't mind.
I really have zero caring about what happens to my body after. I don't even care about my body now, to be honest with you. I just,
Can I eat you a little bit right now?
Yes. That's how.
Gnawing you some?
I was gonna make another like that's how I got my nut joke, but it's you know what I've that's a tired joke at this point. I'm gonna have to save it for something down the road. But you know what we don't have to save, Travis, are those post-credit reviews.
Well, you never filled me in on what was your overall. When was the first time you watched it? Did it hit you? Did you get the reveal then?
I don't remember, to be honest with you. I'd like to say that it was like a big revelation for me. But I just remember kind of going like, oh yeah, it was a pretty good movie, and then just sort of moving on. So I don't think it landed super heavy for me. I think on several watches and paying attention to some of the performances and like you said, a lot of those details that they kind of work in throughout the movie, and really paying attention to, it reminded me a little bit of, I love movies when they create their own slang, where from context you understand what it means, but it's new and sort of foreign to you. Like Clockwork Orange, for example, kind of does a lot of that, in Anthony Burgess's novel and in the Kubrick adaptation. So I like that. I think it's such good world building. So I like a lot of that stuff that they did in this. I think, probably by... You talked a lot about pacing, but I think by a modern standard, most movies from the 60s, 70s, and, even in the 80s going back are paced kind of slow and cut very different than, movies more modern. But that doesn't bother me. I like it. I actually feel like I'm able to keep up with the movie a little bit better than like the shaky Steadicam garbage that you get now. So,
well, you're the guy taking notes over there on your lap, so that makes sense. You want a guy to go up and down a few flights of steps every now and again. That makes sense.
Yeah, it gives me time to take my notes. Well, anyway, Travis, who cares what we think? Who cares what I think? Who cares what you think?
Nobody. Literally nobody.
Yeah, I don't even care. Again, I don't care about my body and I don't care what we think. But what I do care about are those post-credit reviews.
All right, we've got people who like it, people meh, people a little low. Let's see. These are folks that might unveil a little bit of the plot. Let's see if the Soylent Green revelation hit these folks. We got one from Chris Goodwin. Maybe his real name. Look him up on LinkedIn. This is from March 7th of 2024, just 3 weeks ago, Kev. This is fresh. This is a 4.5er here. Took me forever to get around to seeing this one because of the oft-repeated spoiler, but damn, this is a solid flick. I think the real surprise was the Edward G. Robinson character, a brilliant performance with a sad but beautiful way to top off a career from one of Hollywood's greatest stars. Basically, even if you know where this is going, it's still worth the journey.
I 100% agree with that. That's most of what I think. I think that I expected this movie to be more of kind of a pulp style film or a little bit more schlocky than it was, but I found some moments in there like the scene he's alluding to with Edward G. Robinson, seeing those films before he dies. I found them affecting. I really liked it. I agree with this guy. I would like to make fun of him because I like to make fun of the people that do the reviews, but in this case, I agree.
I pulled that one because I thought it was just so well written and concise, and it reflected a lot of what I thought about the movie as well. So, Chris Goodwin, good job. But up next, we got a 3.5er from Fatty McGee.
Okay, all right.
This is from October of 2022.
Oh, does he know what's going on in 2022? People wore masks.
Yeah, well, Fatty says, I guess in the end, it turned out that Soylent Green was the friends we made along the way.
I take back whatever I said about Fatty. That's a brilliant comment. That's so good. That's so good. He's right, though. He's right,
Yeah, he is. Yeah. I thought that was well done. Then we got a 3.5er here from Mike Ryan. You look him up. May 10, 2022. In my opinion, making Soylent Green out of people is really crossing the line. Charlton makes a strong case that this is unacceptable.
Yes. Yeah, you know what? He paid attention to that part of the movie. He did, and he proved it. He was watching with Uncle Doug, and I was like, hey, watch this part right here.
Mike Ryan taking the high road out of New York City 2022. Okay, and then we're going to get into people who are low on it, okay? These are some people who are just hard to impress, okay? We got a 1 star from a strange_day. This is from April 16th, 2021. Strange Day says, Heston is sweaty, women are furniture, Soylent Green is people. Hated it. Thanks.
Yeah, I can see that. I could. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't argue with that.
I don't know if we ever commented, but Charlton Heston is sweaty from the opening credits until he is wheeled out with a bloody hand yelling, people are Soylent Green. He is wet the entire movie. I don't know why.
I mean, it is supposed to be like greenhouse gases, 9,000 degrees outside. Like everything's supposed to be sort of desert-like. That's why all the plants have died. So, you know what? It's that or it's like a battleship in Top Gun is hot.
I just find that a lot of movies that we've done this season,
just sweating
very
dudes.
sweaty. Everybody's sweaty in them. I don't know what that is. They glisten on screen. Maybe that's part of the charm.
Hey, Travis.
Then I have
Hey, Travis.
Yeah.
Hey, Travis. That's how I get my nut.
There it is. Bringing it home. All right. And we got one. This last one's long, Kev. So buckle up, okay? This is.
I don't have the attention span or energy for this, but let's try it. Let's go for it.
Oh, come on. It's fine. It'll be fine. All right.
Okay. All right.
This is a 1 star from Guacamole. I love that name, Molly. Good job. 26 December 2022, day after Christmas. All right, it says, watched with Dad in the living room. Okay, so here's the thing. Many years ago in the very same living room, Dad and I were channel surfing for something to watch. We found this idiot movie called Soylent Green right during the riot scene with the scoops. We thought the bad acting was so funny, how the rioters were practically climbing into the scoops while shouting, "No, let me out of here," and how the scoops just dumped them in the back of the truck. It was hilarious and has been the butt of many jokes since then. Well, Soylent Green takes place in 2022, and I've always wanted to subject myself to the entire badness of the movie, but Dad hasn't, so I knew I could convince him if it was 2022. We meant to watch it last summer, but we ran out of time before I went to college, and now we've watched it. All right, now it's truly awful, Didn't understand what they were saying half the time, and the volume kept going up and down so fast ears were getting blown out, and then you couldn't hear the dialogue. I suppose the plot line itself wasn't too bad, but the presentation was simply awful. Everything was super grimy or unexplained, and it was just dumb. Acting was so god-awful. Glad I got through this movie so I can say I watched it for no other reason.
Did you write that review back in 2006?
No, it's from 2022.
No, okay.
It is poorly written, and Guacamole. I do like the idea or the bit about, because I talked about this in a previous episode, how I would always be channel surfing and TNT was the culprit. I would see the part of the movie that was interesting, think the whole movie was that, walk away, come back and watch that movie and be like, this is nothing like the 4 seconds I saw.
I always think that's interesting, too. She's like saying the performances aren't good and the acting is bad. And I was like, they're pretty good in this. Like, I mean,
it's not.
There's some cheesy scenes, but like in general, it's always amazing to me. Like, you'll see, movies that have fantastic actors in them and like, oh, the performances were terrible. And it's like, or think about the Star Wars, like Episode 1. Everybody's like, oh, man, the performances, the acting is so wooden that. And you're like, man, these are good. Like, you got friggin' Ewan McGregor and Natalie Portman. Like, those are freaking great actors. Like, it's got to be a combination of stilted dialogue and just bad directing from time to time. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I just, whenever I hear bad acting and you're like, is it though?
Yeah, I think the dialogue is mostly fine.
I went on a really
movie.
long tirade there, and it went absolutely nowhere.
No, I get what you're saying. I think sometimes you blame the actors when it's either the writing or it's just framed, because it's a movie from the 70s. We shoot and we do dialogue, we do the way the camera works differently.
Yeah.
Maybe it just didn't hold your attention like modern movie does, but that doesn't mean it's necessarily bad. It was great for the time, and I think it holds up still.
Yeah, like,
so I think Guacamole, eat my ass, bottom gun, or whatever we say.
Yeah, whatever that thing was we said that was funny in that other episode that was actually funny.
Yeah, it was
like
months ago.
Yeah, months ago. We just stopped being funny at some point. But like, I just want to harp on this a little longer because I'm sure people are loving this. But like, maybe it is an actor like sensibility thing from like the 70s is very different to more naturalistic shot and performed movies now. Like, so if we watched, actors from like the Elizabethan era or like, the Greek chorus or something, we'd be like, well, that's dumb. You're not acting that right. You got to be more natural with it. You got to talk like me, whatever. I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Is that the last one? God, I hope so.
I get what you're saying. It is the last one.
Okay, she went on for a while, dude. Like, good lord, and like we learned so much about. I know more about Guacamole than I do Thorn after watching this entire movie. To be honest with you, well, Travis, on a budget of $4 million, or that's $26 million in 2024 monies, in case you were wondering, Soylent Green went on to have a box office of about $3.6 million. So, not a huge success, but it's set in the year 2022, as we've mentioned. Now, the film theorized that by that year, the population of New York City would be 40 million, but hey, it was just over about 8 million as of the last census, so, get to work, New York.
Yeah, and that's like 72 million in today's people.
Oh, is there an inflation rate? I didn't realize that. Okay, that makes more sense then. Well, as a evergreen entry into the dystopian future genre of film, no one can deny Soylent Green's gritty and dark tone and just, doggone quotable ending. But as a film, it has stood the test of time and routinely ends up on top films of all time lists. All right, there, Guacamole, loosely based on the novel Make Room, Make Room. The film, which has become a cult classic, brings to the forefront of its themes the dehumanization of the modern world, albeit, like 50 years ago, modern world, but modernish, let's say, and just how bad things could get. Thank goodness that we solved all the problems this film talked about, like overcrowding, food, water, and housing shortages, corporate greed, political corruption, global warming, and massive pollution. Yeah, thank God we solved all that, huh, Travis?
Feels good. Feels good to put that behind us, doesn't it?
Mission accomplished. We did good, man. I'm proud of us. You and me, we solved all of those.
Right at the end of 2022, when 2023 kicked in, it was just a brand new horizon. I was like, this is great. I love it.
It was the masks. That's what it was.
It still
was
sucks.
the masks.
It was. Yep.
Really, really saved us. Well, Travis, You know what? I've kind of been a little curmudgeonly, but I've actually had a lot of fun, buddy. Thank you for.
I mean, this. I think this was an interesting episode for us. Will it be our most downloaded? Probably not. People probably only listen to this if they've seen the movie.
Do people download this?
You can download a podcast. That's a conventional way of accessing one.
Huh.
Sure.
I've been mailing out CDs.
You son of a. But that's part of a problem. Now we can't track the downloads. All these people got CDs. They don't need. Now we can't get their stats. Anyway,
am I able to expense those? By the way,
no.
Okay.
Actually,
right.
You didn't run it by me first, so now it's just a thing you donated. So good job.
Okay, but it's just. I mean, what about the postage?
That's the part. No, I mean, no to all of it.
Okay. All right.
No,
all right.
no postage.
Yeah. What about my mileage to the post office? Can I expense that maybe?
No.
No.
Can't. None of it.
Okay.
None of it.
Right.
None of it
All
at
right.
all.
I just none of the CDs. What about the cassette tapes that mailed out?
No.
Okay.
Can't.
All right.
None of it.
All right.
So anyway, even though this won't be our most popular episode
What
because
about
people typically like to watch. God, no.
What about the iPod Nanos that I loaded the podcast onto and mailed out? Those were very expensive. They're hard to find now.
No, no. You
Okay.
You did all this on your own. You should have ran it by me. Okay. I would have told you that was a dumb idea. Now you've lost a bunch of money. So,
right.
And no one's listening to that.
I can't pay my mortgage this month, and I just need a little.
I hope you can't. I hope you don't ever pay it. I hope you have to sleep on stairs for the rest of your life. You're insane. But I think it was still a fun episode up until just recently. Now. I would love to hear a hint for the next film, Kev. Maybe you could sing us a little something.
Yeah, I mean, who would be better than me singing it is Roy Orbison should sing. Well, anyway,
cool.
I think that's pretty good, Travis.
I like him. He's nice.
He is. I wish he was still around. If you enjoyed this podcast, you might like our other podcast. You can catch me on the Tabletop Gaming Podcast, Blue Peg, Pink Peg. You can catch Travis on a pile of podcasts here on the Polymedia Network. And if you want to keep this podcast grinding up the competition, support the Polymedia Network on Patreon and give us a like and a share out there in the wild, for goodness sakes. We also have to thank our pal Harvest Black for that nutritious theme music. And just like our Uncle Doug always says,
you tell everybody. Listen to me, Hatcher. You've got to tell them. Soylent Green is people. We've got to stop them somehow. This is going to be the take where he makes it terrible.